Hey everybody, welcome back to Mini Junkie. This is Jarrett, long time no see. I thought to dip my toe back into YouTube, I'd do a quick video, just a hobby video, talking about how I use and fix pigment powders to my bases. It's a great way to sort of create a lot of variation in the texture and in the color, and it's very much in scale, so it adds like a nice, it doesn't look like big grains of sand or anything like that, and you can use it in a lot of different ways. I tend to put it over both texture paste and bits that are on the base just to create more realism. All you need, the paper towel is just basically to protect your work surface. I use white spirits to fix the pigments. I use a pipette to apply them. I prefer Absalon 502, 501 pigments. They're nice and fine. You need an old brush, and of course a miniature you want to apply these to. Now, I like to do this as pretty much the last stage. The only thing I do after the pigments is apply tufts. Tufts are the last stage other than like painting the base rim. And I take the pigments dry out of the pot. I shake them up just to get some on the lid to make this a little easier. And this is pretty hard on the brush, so you're going to want sort of a dedicated pigment brush, because I don't know, you can do it differently if you want, but I tend to really grind them in and sort of rub them in, which is over texture paste can be pretty rough on the brush itself. And I do it in patches. I'm trying to make sort of natural variations on the ground, so I don't just sort of, cover the entire base, although you absolutely could. And I always try to do probably at least two different colors, just again, to make it a little more natural. I'll tend to sort of apply these around the edges of the previous color. This one's called Russian Earth, and it's pretty dark and pretty similar to the Vallejo dark earth texture paste I'm using. So it doesn't actually show that well on this clip, but it is blending into the previous color, which was Trench Earth, and creating again that sort of scale look to it and that nice sort of blended look. Okay, now once that's all on there, I'll wipe the base or the rim just to get any excess off of there, because it'll fix in place in this next step. I don't varnish the base. I don't varnish the pigments. An airbrush will blow them all over the place, and I find matte varnish actually really dilutes the effect to the point where you kind of can't see that you had them. This white spirit just does just the right amount of fixing and doesn't sort of reduce that dustiness and doesn't reduce the appearance of the pigments, just fixes them perfectly in place so they won't go anywhere. I also like the viscosity, because even just by putting a little drop here and there, it spreads all over and covers all your pigment really nicely, covers the base, and then you just set that down to dry. Now, white spirit will evaporate, so I usually don't leave the lid off like that. I was just doing it for this demonstration. I'll usually pour a little bit out in the pipette and then seal it back up. Here's a weirdly slow-mo shot of all the different basing I've done, and it's all been set out to dry. You put this white spirit on and just leave it alone. Like, just set it down, go away, come back. Probably it's going to take a few hours at least for the white spirits to dry, but it's worth waiting. And here you have it after it's dried. It's all fixed in place. It's retained a lot of that matte finish and that sort of powdery texture. Here I'm sort of attempting to show how it's not coming off, but I had some on my fingers, so it was a terrible demonstration. But if I switch to a clean finger any minute now, yes, let's pick one and then push it on there, on where you've got some of this pigment, and it's not coming off. Like, it's really on there, and you can sort of game with confidence. You can glue tufts over it and stuff like that. And that's all there is to it. If you have any questions, feel free to post them below. See you later.